All right, so after additional consideration, I've decided to do a few things with this Artic Bat. Seeing as how the problem after, I usually don't watch anybody else's reviews. It's kind of my rule not to watch anybody else's reviews of a figure that I really want to do because I don't want to bias myself to it. But after I did my review of this Artic Bat, I saw that the problem with this shoulder is endemic to a bunch of people's bats that they've gotten. Maybe it's just a batch that has the problem, but gosh, what is the chance that all these? It's not that many reviews of the Artic Bat, but it's enough to make me think this is endemic. This is a problem that is inherent in these figures now. So I'm thinking to myself, I think what we need to do is shoot a video or shoot a quick how-to on how to fix this problem here, this joint that just refuses to cooperate. Anyways, what I'm going to do, I'm going to fix that joint. But not only that, I'm going to do a few touch-ups to this little guy too, because you know what? Since I'm going in there and fixing his joint, first thing we're going to do, we're going to do a two-parter, right? We're going to focus on the two things. First thing we're going to do is fix these joints. We're just going to, correct, because that's the only thing that's wrong with this guy. As you get him, fix these joints so he can do a correct T-pose. And then after we're done with that, just like I did with the Mr. Freeze from Fighting the Frozen, or I forgot what the comic book was called, or that line was called, but it was that really cool McFarlane as a Batman as the caveman type of look, Mr. Freeze, kind of like I did him and, added some more painting and spots to him and, just highlighted him a lot more. We're going to do that with this guy too, right? We're going to add some washes, some bits of color, some more color up here on some washes here, some highlights of wear on his shoulder pad. These are robots, right? They don't really care about aesthetics very much. Their primary directive is probably to saw you in half or saw G.I. Joe in half. But anyways, they don't really care if their armor is looking super spiffy unless you've put it in their program. But anyways, we're going to add some washes, add some highlights, add some colors. But that'll be, color this in a nice little, because this looks like leather to me. I think I'm going to make this a lot more like, anyways, I've got some great ideas for it. So we're going to go off and do that. But before we get to that part, that'll be a second video. First thing we're going to do is we're going to fix this T-pose. So what I'm going to start to do, I'll stop along the way. I'll say, okay, this is the progress that we've done, and this is what we've done so far. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to add some heat. Now, I use a hair dryer, and the reason I use a hair dryer is because a heat gun, I have a heat gun, but the problem with heat guns is if you're not paying 1,000% laser focused attention on what you're doing, you'll melt the dang thing. So if you use a hair dryer, you've got a little more leeway, right? You don't have to be exact. You can be close. And a hair dryer typically won't melt this plastic. It'll make it really soft and malleable, but it won't burn it or melt it. So we're going to use a heat gun, put it on there for about a minute on high, and then pop this socket out, and then start working on this joint right here so it'll move correctly. I don't know if I need to shave this part off yet, but we'll see when we get there. That might be the problem. All right, guys, well, let's get to it. And next time you see me, he'll have these popped off and we'll go from there. All right, guys, so we're back. As you can see, I heated up both of these parts here and popped off the arms for him. So here's how both arms look, heated up for about a minute 20 seconds on either side, pop these out. And now you can see his butterfly joint. I did a couple things just to be sure. I shaved off a little bit of the top portion of this socket because it felt like there was And then I also shaved off a little bit off the top of here with an X-Acto knife, right? I shaved a little bit off of that. And then I shaved a little bit off of this cup right here, this socket. I haven't tried it, so I don't know what it is, but it felt to me like it was catching there, but I can't be sure. So again, I haven't tried any of this. I don't know if it's gonna work or not. You guys are gonna join me for this experience now. So let me try and test fit this. And see, sometimes it takes a little bit of a pressure. Sometimes it's damn hard to get these things on, but let's see. Let's try with the, well, let's try with the less hard arm, which is this one. This one wasn't as bad. So let's try and get this one back on. It takes a lot of pressure to get these on. Oh, let's see. Get it on okay? Oh, that's much better. You guys see that? See, it is clicking there. It's catching right there. That was easier to see, but it's not catching as much anymore. So that's the T-pose. Interesting. So it's right there that the catch is. So hold on, let me be right back, because this one was the tough one. All right, guys, so I've shaved a little bit more. I don't know if you guys can even tell, but I've shaved a little bit more off the top there to hope it doesn't catch. It should be all the way in now. Whew. Boy, that really stung. All right, let's see if we can get this one in. Nobody laughing at home with how hard this thing is. This booger is hard to get in there. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can do it on camera. Look at me shaking like a leaf trying to get this thing in there. Dang. Dang, Hasbro. All right, it's gonna, hold on a second. This is gonna require some behind the cameras pressure point. Jeez, I hope you guys heard that. All right, I just popped it in there. Had to use some fulcrum. Anyways, T-pose right there, really nice T-pose. Boom, 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 boom. All right, here's the moment. This one was the trickier one. Let's see what happens. Please, I don't want to take this off again anymore. It seems to be going all the way around. No issues, no issues out here. Moment of truth. No. Well, it's easier. It's easier for sure. It's definitely, look, he can hit the T-pose now. Okay, so that's what it was. I did have to put, basically open that joint up also and put some shock oil in it. And I'll put a picture of the shock oil up here that I use. And again, I took some, I shaved down that cup or that joint that he has in there, and I shaved this part down. Before, he couldn't strike a T-pose at all. It was just horrible. Now, with a little bit of elbow grease, I mean, this one's no issue. This one still has a little bit of an issue getting to a T-pose, but he can finally get into that T-pose, right? That was so difficult earlier. So boom, boom, easy enough. Well, let's put all his stuff back together and see what he looks like afterwards, being able to strike his T-pose. Look at that. I mean, it's still some gappiness there, but you know, it's okay. Just make sure and you hold him from the joint up here so you don't start, because this thing right here will start to warp on you, and then, you know, it'll break eventually. So I wish it wasn't so tight though, that arm, because if you don't hold it from up here, I mean, you'll eventually break this joint, is what'll eventually happen. This one, not an issue. I wish it was this easy, right? And I don't think I don't think shaving any more off is going to help. I think it's internally, this joint is really tight. So I'm not going to take it apart anymore. I think it's good enough now to where if I can just hold it from there, it'll move all the way up. It's not a big deal. And I do want a little friction on it, so I think I'm going to leave it before. I don't want to force it open anymore and maybe chance breaking it. I think that's good enough for me. That's a good T-pose for me. Let me put them back together and see what it looks like. All right, guys, so we didn't put everything back on him, but I just put the little shoulder pads on him and his little chainsaw there. So here's what we got. That's a genuine T-pose right there. That's where he is. So this arm is actually much easier to pose than this arm. This one's still a little tighter, but with the little, you gotta, this does get in the way a little bit, so I don't think it's helping, but it shouldn't be, you know, where it just hinders you, because it does get out of the way if you move it. So there you go. You can move it up, you can move it down. That's where it is. I just personally think that maybe this, it's just a QC issue. This, hits this, and doesn't let it move straight up. Again, this one goes up much easier than, again, this one does. It's just QC stuff. You know, hold on, let me see there. Got to make sure that it's going up and down. It's just QC stuff that really should have been handled, you know, at the you know, very, you know, factory level type stuff. This is, you know, it's ticky-tacky stuff that should have just been looked at way before. So there's no need for us to do these things for Hasbro. They could have handled it on their own. Anyways, you can see that's him hitting a T-pose straight up. Is it, you know, do you want to go and do all this work that I just did? It didn't take long. I would say it took about, I mean, being very careful, it took about, you know, 30 minutes, 45 minutes to maybe shave that down, heat it up, make sure I wasn't breaking anything, and then do it that. I'm sure if I could keep working on this, I could loosen it up, but I don't want to loosen up too much. And at this point, it does the job for me. So I'm going to leave it here. I think the next thing that I'm going to do, that I'm going to take this figure and do, is I'm going to actually start to paint it up. I'm going to start to do these little touches of color and the things that we talked about earlier. You know, what do I want to do with it to make it pop more, right? I've got so many ideas, I think this is the best bat that they've released so far, and it pained me to know that all of these figures are going to have this chronic endemic failure right here at these joints. And if, you know, I mean, maybe if it doesn't bother you so much that he can't do a T-pose, well, then that's fine if you're just not going to use that. But it bothered me to know that, you know, this figure can't do it. And so I needed to correct that. One more try. Let's see. Yeah, pretty easy there. Boom. This one is the little booger that's just stuck. You just don't want to cooperate, do you? There. Jeez, boy, you're just not super nice, that joint. But anyways, it's striking a T-pose if I really want it. And that's all that was wrong with it, right? Cutting out some of the top part here, cutting and then reducing some of that, and then opening up that joint a bit to loosen it. So appreciate you guys staying for the episode. I hope I helped you out. Let me know in the comments if you're going to you know, work on this, if you're going to do the same thing I did, if it doesn't bother you, if you just think it's a nitpicky thing. But it didn't take me very long, like I said, maybe, you know, 30, 45 minutes, something like that. So I hope you join me on my next video where I'm going to paint them up real good. We'll do something like we did with the Mr. Freeze, and we'll go from there. Let me know in the comments if you liked this little thing that I did with them, to kind of walk you through some of the things that I do to kind of fix my figures, or get them to do all that they potentially can do. And I'll keep doing you know, some more series on this. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. As long as you guys keep watching, I'll keep rolling them out.